Good evening, friends. This side, Rahul Magan here is a Group Chief Executive Officer of Treasury Consulting and also a venture capitalist. It's a pretty short video about my favorite bank, Goldman Sachs. People call me pro Goldman and I never feel shy. Yes, I am pro Goldman. And I thank you to Marcus Goldman who thought about it in 1869 when no one was thinking about commercial paper, but he did, and that's his history. There are people in India who still claim that Goldman is not a bank, but I do claim that it's a bank. Right? The way they hold $43 trillion of derivative book, the way they're managing their FX desk, the way they are taking position is exemplary. It's seriously exemplary. We need to appreciate that Goldman is really, I would say, more than what people know about Goldman. I think my kudos to Goldman, in short. But today I got to know that Goldman started cutting the partners program. Well, Blankfein, which is the most respected chief executive officers in the banking system, especially in the Wall Street, he ended up having 500 partners. Goldman cutting the partners program. He ended up having 500 partners when he left. Not left, basically he handed over to David Solomon. Now, a partner in Goldman is a pretty prestigious position actually. You have whatever limited information we know, and more I cannot tell that you have minimum $1 million of base salary, 1 million, and the annual bonus is 3 to 4 times of that, and perks and everything is that. And in fact, once I was reading this book, and in fact I have restarted this book, which is a $1 billion whale, and you know that one MD scandal cannot be concluded without Goldman. So there was a little introduction about the Goldman partner program we have. Little introduction about the partner program in this book. Now, Blankfein left with 500 partners. David Solomon, who took it over, now have approximately 450 partners. There is a news came that the recent one left is the Arun Dar, who heads the equity division in London, while the last one was Marty Chevas. We apologize in case spelling is wrong. It's unintentional. Marty Chevas, which is security division co-head, then Jeff, who is again from equity division, again a head, and Richard, who is again equity research head, Europe, Africa, and multiple countries. And the list is pretty long actually. Now, moral of the story is pretty clear that if the Goldman is cutting the partners program, then effectively the only solution, then the two probable reasons that come in the public domain is that the current CEO David Solomon do not need more partners, and I think that's the rightest approach. Why do you need too much partners? I don't want to name a company, but we have an ITS company in India, Information Technology Enabled Services company in India, who have almost 150 AVPs, Assistant Vice President, and if I'm not mistaken, more than 200 Vice President in one company. So when I joined this company, I hope you guessed, when I joined this company, I was pretty much strange that how come a company have more than 150 AVPs, Assistant Vice President, and more than 200 Vice President. I left 3 years ago. I don't know what is the count now, but I'm sure the count must be intact or growing. Well, similarly, one thing which I'm in sync with David Solomon is that less partner means less cost, and more importantly, such unique designations, whereby your base salary is 1 million, while your bonus is more than 4 to 5 times of your base salary, should not be given to everybody. I think David Solomon is right. Now, currently we have 450 plus something partners we have in Goldman. The right figure no one knows, but closer by 450. But the point is very clear. David Solomon, one thing which I wanted to address and request David Solomon, although I have not met him, but I love to meet him and Blankfein soon in New York. One thing which I want to tell about David Solomon is that do not cut the partners program in such a way that it ends up losing to the Goldman, because banking is a relationship industry. We need to appreciate that banking is a relationship industry. So if I am a banker, then people don't know me because I am from Goldman. People know me, maybe initially people know me because I'm a Goldman. Over the period, I might be the face of the Goldman, but wherever I go, people will go. Now, this book also substantiates one fact. I don't want you to name the bank, you read yourself, that one banker who was very close to Low, the basic brain between 1MDB scandal, when he moved from one bank to another bank in Singapore, you read this book, will get to know that automatically the Low was able to do the transaction with the new bank. So banking is a relationship industry, that we know. So no one will say that example that if Arun Dar, who heads equity, if he go actually, then he would be replaced by somebody, or maybe might not be replaced by somebody, then the business will be intact. So my humble request to David Solomon is that only because you wanted to cut the cost, please be careful that it should not happen that over the period you lose a key person and that key person join the rival bank like JP, Citi, Standard Chartered, HSBC and all, and the business of Goldman will went away. We also need to understand the harsh reality of the life is that Goldman is losing credentials in investment banking. That is also a fact. After one MBB scandal, we had a hit. Goldman had a hit. That's also a fact. So partners cutting program is good. There is no doubt, but that partners cutting program should be very sincere. It should not hurt Goldman in a longer way. So cut 100 $200 million, it should not happen that in maybe few years down the line Goldman will lose few $billion of revenue, or maybe more than that, or some clients will go. My just advice to David Solomon, because I always love Goldman and I'm thankful to Goldman for such a lovely teachings they have in lovely teachings in my life. I thank you to Marcus Goldman that he started up in 1869, and because of Marcus today a young generation is having a passion to be Goldman. Well, I wanted to be a bank always, I wanted to be like a Goldman, that's for sure. My ideal is always Goldman. The way they carried out their FX test, the way they carried out their iBanking, it's phenomenal, it's amazing. But having said that, we need to appreciate one thing very clearly, that banking is a relationship job, that's for sure. And that would be challenge for me as well, that how, because even if the people who will join our bank, it's a relationship call. But we're going to deliberate more about this later. But in short, that banks are cutting costs, that's for sure. Deutsche is firing. News came today, Credit Suisse is firing. HSBC firing. Almost everybody firing. And unfortunately, Goldman joining the league with the partners cutting program. I'm sure if they're cutting the partners, they're cutting the lower staff as well. I'm sure about that. Soon it will come in the public domain. But we hope Goldman will bring back to number one position in the investment banking. And thank you very much for motivating us. This is Treasury Consulting, and my mobile number +91 9899242978. Our fixed income platform www.fixedincome.global. And don't forget to read this book. I'm not a brand endorser of this book. It's a pretty nice book about tax havens and how the frauds are happening in the banking sector. And don't forget, we are coming up with a movie which is Life in Treasury Market, the shooting to start in October, and hell lot of action to happen. Have a great time.